Hey everybody, this is Josh Schachter, host of the Churned podcast. Today we're having quick conversations with attendees at the Pulse Conference, hosted by Gainsight. This year, the Pulse Conference was in Las Vegas. We sat down with a couple of customers of Gainsight and found out what their biggest hurdles were in the world of CS and how they're using AI and other tools to keep their companies running smoothly and their customers sticky. All right, let's dive in. I'm very excited to be here with Angel Rogers. Angel was the head of customer success at Rockwell Automation, and she's going to tell us some really cool time savings that her and her team get out of AI. Angel, it's great to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful to meet you.
What are the biggest rocks? And we talked about this before, that's no pun intended, but at Rockwell, what are your top rocks that you as a team are pushing up the hill right now?
So for us, it is pun intended. We actually created a program within my organization called the Big Rocks. And every quarter and every sort of fiscal year, we pick the biggest challenges ahead of us and we put all of our focus into those challenges. So if it is a new sort of program or a new initiative that's starting, if it doesn't connect with one of the big rocks, it really needs to either replace a rock or it needs to become secondary. So it's a 120-year-old company that started as a transaction-based, one-time sort of engagement selling hardware. So we have a lot of big rocks and we're transforming every day. But some of the things I'd say is, one, we just are a really large customer base and a really complex customer base. So we have over 85 different recurring revenue offers that my CS team supports. We did over 100,000 contract renewals last year, none of which were auto-renew. And
by the way, I didn't ask you about this, but what does your team look like? What's the size and scale of your team?
So we have about 300 people globally. Doing customer success and renewals. And it's a real mix. So we have like our regional teams that are really executing for North America, Latin America, EMEA, and Asia Pacific. We have a software team that's really thinking about some of our software go-to-market that looks and feels a little bit different than some of our like core services, which is the bulk of what we have. And then we have a few acquisitions that we've done that we have real SaaS businesses running like Plex, for example. Yep. So we have sort of a mix and we're organized around the customer experience. We really try to be thoughtful of how does customer buy from us? How do they use from us? And that's how we've really been purposeful in organizing to go to market for them.
So 300 plus CSMs, 85 different types of recurring revenue to sell, and then 100,000 contracts that
100,000 renewed contracts last year.
Okay, that's a lot. That's just...
all of which require a touch at some point.
Yeah.
So when I have not meant to evade your question.
No, I want to get back to the question because that's a beast. That's a boulder. That's a boulder, just to be clear.
Boulder rock is how do we get to all of those customers? Yeah. We can't drive customer success if we don't secure the renewal at the end of the day because they're not a customer anymore, right? So we really had to find our way to how do we drive scale and how do we get to our renewals? How do we make sure that we are securing this business? And then it has been about, as we gain hours back using technology, using things like AI, how do we reinvest that back into the customer's experience and start to do the real proactive customer success type activities that we know are critical for the best-in-class customer experience. And so it's really, again, been about how do we use scale and technology to help us cover our business, and how do we really thoughtfully reinvest that time back into making sure our customers are happy and want to stay with us.
So how are you actually creating these efficiencies through AI and through the other tooling?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, it is being informed and being able to make decisions based on data. So what we're doing is we're using tools like Staircase. We're using tools like Renewal Center within Gainsight to make sure that our CSMs aren't just trying to equally spread out their engagements. They're not using time-based like we did in the past, right? Just because 30 days has passed doesn't mean you have to call your customer. It really is, there are markers happening, there are changes in behavior, there are upticks in behavior. That's when we have to be really thoughtful and pointed and drive intelligent interactions based on that information that we have. So it's empowering our CSMs with information, it's helping drive them to where they should be and when, and that's sort of how we are saving the time and then driving it back.
And any cool initial results that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I'll tell you one thing I saw that, it wasn't cool at first, but it's cool now, I guess. One of the first things I saw from a Staircase sort of bucketized, here's where your people are spending their time, was that my CSMs were spending over 3,000 hours scheduling meetings with customers As you can imagine, I was not thrilled.
Per day, per week, per month, per year?
That was actually looking at, I think it was a per quarter metric.
Okay, that's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of wasted time, to be honest, right? Like, there are digital tools to use that. So that was a really great place to say, now that I have this information and I'm armed with it, because I never would have assumed that, now I can go make sure that we have, if they're doing that, then either they don't have the right tools or they don't know how to use them. And so we went and we drove a campaign to try to correct some of those things, right? And again, our CSMs are thrilled because they want to be doing more value add activities with their customers as well. So it's kind of a win-win across the board.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on those successes and everything ahead. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Next up, we have Sean MacPherson from Fleetio.
Hey, Sean, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about Fleetio. Let's start there.
Yeah, so Fleetio is a platform for fleet companies. So essentially anyone that has a vehicle that's out in the field and needs to do maintenance, that could be one of our customers, from if you have 50,000 assets to 2 assets in the field. So we help those customers maintain the life cycle of their vehicles, of their assets, whether that is a VIN-based asset, construction vehicles, all of that good stuff.
It's all like the workforce that's out there helping to maintain inventory, all the tracking and measuring.
All the inventory, all the preventative maintenance, all the DOT compliance, all of the fun stuff that you just don't think about.
Oh, I think about that stuff all the time.
Yeah. Always getting your oil changes.
Yes. Let's talk about AI. I want to understand what's on your hit list for AI. How are you guys using it internally for your own, strategy and enablement? Magic wand moment. How would you love to be using it?
Yeah.
You personally and your team. So what's the current landscape of AI tooling and platforms and enablement at Fleetio?
Yeah, we're dabbling in it kind of broad right now, I would say, in the sense that we haven't necessarily figured out what is the 1 or 2 use cases, and we're trying to start to narrow that down to make our team more efficient. So there's 2 things we're really focused on. One, on the post-sale customer success side, my vision really is, how do we, from an external standpoint, when we look at, when our customers look at our team, I want them to view our team as the experts in the field. So they understand fleet inside and out. So when you talk to one of our CSMs, they're an expert. So what we want to really offload and make them more efficient at is, how do you, from like note taking to emails to any of the more transactional work that sucks them away from being in front of the customer and providing that expertise, how do we actually automate that? And how do we get better data out of that?
Save them time. How are you saving them a few hours a week, if not more?
Save them time and bring a lot of those learnings back to other folks in our company. So whether it's the product team, the marketing team, or the sales team, how do we democratize essentially that customer conversation more? Saving
time and knowledge transfer, potentially also even just creating a little knowledge too. How are they using AI to pull in that knowledge, right? That you want them to be educated on.
Yeah, and then even on the smaller side is, how does someone interact with something that can just help them self-serve better instead of always having to pick up the phone?
Right. Okay, what's the number one? What's like the most annoying, frustrating piece of busy work you'd want to eliminate?
Oh,
and you can't say one-on-ones with your team. Bad joke.
No, it's aggregating the reporting from all of these different systems and getting that into a singular place that's digestible. So whether that is digestible from a roll-up standpoint, from a cross-functional standpoint, or even a down standpoint, that is one of our biggest challenges right now. So we have so much data, but the visualization and just the extraction of the story is
a lot of
so
telemetry.
Yes.
Voice of customer.
Yep. We have every gadget, application, you name it, but we still struggle to tell the story.
360 to tell the story.
Yep.
So maybe, capturing the data, analyzing the data, but then also, like you said, presenting the data as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is having the stakeholder understand what they're consuming. If you are very intimate with the data, you understand exactly what you're seeing. But if you're a CEO that has 5 seconds to talk about the data, you just want it real fast and real quick. You don't want the whole
That's a good point, because we talk a lot about how AI can help us understand our own data and narrative internally, but we actually don't talk about it all that much, or as much nearly, how it can help the customer on their end as well. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I'd love to have you back next year. We'll check in with you, see how those things are going, if you're forming, norming, storming, all the rest. Sean, thanks, man. Appreciate it always. Great catching up with you. And wishing you and Fleetio the best of luck in the coming year.
Yes, thank you.
Up next, we have Tiffany Taylor with Handshake.
Tiffany, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to know, what are the biggest rocks right now that you and the team at Handshake are focused on?
We are changing the way our customers have done their work for so long. And so it's a lot of change management. Without going in the nitty-gritty of the product, we need to drive adoption around some key features that are kind of changing the way some old school work was done.
No, I want to go into the nitty-gritty, but get deep.
Well, for a long time, job search was, I'm not going to age both of us, but it was you submitted a resume for some folks in the post and you may or may not have heard back and the process was long. Yeah. Today's generation searches in different ways. We're looking at community, connection, networking. We are transitioning fields differently from what you got your major in. And at Handshake, we believe a singular platform can do all of those things. Peer-to-peer feedback, connect with mentors, connect with an alum, get feedback on the resume, get suggested jobs. And so that's a little bit different for folks who are career counselors for maybe 40 years ago. And so we are trying to bring folks along with respect to an institution that they know better than anyone else, and do that in a way that is going to continue to help to give Gen Z jobs, hopefully our jobs in the future.
Yeah. Well, so what's your playbook look like for change management in that sense?
It's slow, but also fast. It starts with getting a lot of feedback from the customer. We start with beta groups, small, intimate champions and detractors, getting that feedback, talking with R&D. And when that launches, the part that I think Gainsight really plays a critical role is then tracking how fast are we able to get maximum adoption for each of those tools along the way, of course, while not deterring sentiment.
AI, let's talk about AI. Somewhat of a big topic, right?
Yes.
I'd like to know how you're thinking about it, how you're exploring it, the early days of it, what's going on at Handshake right now with your team.
A couple ways right now might feel very rudimentary to folks, but my team is we are on site a lot with our customers. And so you can imagine the feedback loop, even just from sending a survey and wanting to get that back from them, can be kind of slow. They could be on the road for 5 days. I might not read that feedback for 6, 7 days. Then we have a one-on-one and implement it. You get the gist. Impact Analyzer actually in Gainsight can help to analyze that feedback immediately and then suggest the actions, and almost, if I heard our product roadmap today correctly, generate the advised action. So, hey, you just had this great experience on site, go set X feature up so that you can execute Y action. So that lessening of time to value for the customer, and certainly my own time, is where we need to go. We have the tools and now we just need to get there. But on a very simple basis, it's just analyzing feedback and getting the actions rolled out as quickly as possible.
Now, what's the impact of that decreased time to value for you and for your customers?
Amazing. First of all, I actually think we'll be able to even meet our customers more and I think when you do it manually, you end up looking at your email and you're saying, oh, I want them to do 5 things, but let me just suggest 1. I am certain AI will help us generate, no, we can do all 5, but in fact, if we roll it out at this cadence, at this pace. So inevitably, we're getting our customers to do more at a shorter period of time, which seems boggling to me because I couldn't have thought that we could have done that even a year ago. The next is that we are in a global space, and I think not immediately, but certainly helping with localization, translation of language, of the information that we're using. And we're definitely underutilizing, just scraping all of our resources. Internally, we use Glean, all of our resources to help create course content. Right now, again, we're relying on a beautiful human's brain to do that, but AI can certainly help. So that's now making our content more efficient.
Tiffany Taylor, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Up next, we have Matt Krebsbach, the Director of Technology and Strategy Operations at Boomi.
Matt, great. Thanks so much for joining me. I want to ask you, what are the biggest rocks right now that in your role, you're the Director of Technology Strategy Operations at Boomi, what are the biggest rocks you're tackling?
Scalability, I think, is the biggest rock that all of us are trying to tackle. And I think with that comes AI and how we want to use AI to help handle the most repeatable actions that we have in our business so that we can use our resources in the most meaningful way.
What do you want to have scale more?
Everything. I think customer outcomes is the first one that comes to mind. We want scale in how we deliver consistent customer outcomes, whether through our success services support engagements, and really repeatable actions for our team. Our team, we have great folks, but we want them to be as efficient and effective as possible. So arming them with the best data so the right people in the right place at the right time doing the right thing.
The perfect trifecta. I guess it's 4. But okay, so like what repeatable actions? Like what is the key daily flow that you would love to be able to just have scale repeatably, consistently across your organization?
Yeah, if we think about it from a success viewpoint, starting out, we want them to automatically know going into their day, what are their priorities for the day? And not have them have to go and deliver that, or their manager, to have that surface through the open actions that are happening within their customer accounts or their book of business. And so they get a recap of, here's what I need to do today. And then as you're engaging with the customer, automatic summarization of what's happening in those engagements and the action items they take out of it. So their work is constantly being prioritized and reprioritized on the things that are most important for the business and most important for the customers that they serve.
And what are you guys doing now to get to that scalability?
So we use a combination of Gainsight solutions, including Gainsight CS platform. We use Staircase AI. We also have a platform called Reef AI, which is doing kind of scarcity-based regression modeling around churn for us to help prioritize kind of the long run of accounts for us. So we have all of these that are ingesting all of the signals that are happening and then prioritizing those signals for our customer success folks to be able to understand what is the biggest actionable items for them.
And how's the team received all this new next generation tooling?
I think the first viewpoint everyone had was, can I trust the score? Can I trust, the insights? And I think as you start to engage them and enable them on how the insights are created and delivered, then they start to build trust in it. And then as they start to use it, you pilot it out and you start to see groups for it, then they're like, yeah, this is great. This saves me 4 hours a day that I was doing this repeatable action. Now I can just focus on customers. Then they start to see it in action, and then it reinforces the behavior that this is good, this helps me. And so it's really just connecting and enabling them so that they feel that trust in the solution, that it benefits them and it benefits the outcomes they're trying to deliver for the customers.
Let's keep going on AI, the AI train here.
Yeah.
So clearly you're doing things to help increase the scale and time savings as well. Any other priorities as you think about what you're currently doing with AI or what you want to be doing in the near term or longer term that's on your radar?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things around AI. I think we need to understand how agents are going to work both independently and with each other. And so for us, it's understanding from a tech stack standpoint, where are we contributing all of our focus to, and what are the bets that we're making, right? Around, hey, do they have the vision that aligns to how we're thinking about things and the outcomes we're trying to drive to customers, and then doubling down, tripling down on those so that you can deliver the outcomes you want. But then how do they play together? So for us, thinking about, Gainsight and the outcomes we're trying to drive from a success perspective, we pull in data from, Gong, from CRM, from, our product, from our data warehouse, pulling all of this in. So we then have all of the insights within one solution that then you're putting these AI agents over that have all the data they need to be able to interact with. And then it's, all right, what's possible then, right? So you're enabling the data so that the agents can access the data, and then anything becomes possible. If you can dream it, you can build it, kind of thing. But you need the data right.
Matt, it was great. I love what you guys are doing. You seem to be like a step ahead on the curve. This is very intentional for you.
Yep.
And I think you've shared some great learnings for the rest of us out there. Thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Up next, we're chatting with Charlie Ferraro.
Charlie, thanks so much for being here with me today. To get things started, I want to ask you, what are the biggest rocks right now that you're tackling in your post-sales roadmap?
Probably like every other CS person, retention. And of course, AI efficiency.
And AI efficiency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think I've heard those before.
Yeah.
Okay. So retention. Let's break that down. What specifically about retention? How are you where's the gap and how are you trying to solve it?
Yeah. Great question. So, our top line is GRR. So we're measured on GRR and logo retention. And we're partway through the year, but in CS land, we're pretty much working the end of the year right now. And our busiest time is December. So like that's when, all our deals usually close. So what we're working on now is all those like critical EBRs and things like that, all the value realization and value articulation for that crazy busy time at the end of the year. So some of the things that we're doing is like, what is your pain as a CSM, as a customer facing person, to deliver value as efficiently as possible to your customer? Cool. How can you make that more efficient? And so we've taken as much of our data as possible, put it into our data warehouse. So vibe code away, and maybe a few of the team have already built agents that interact with the account team in Slack.
I know that's one of the more popular features for Staircase. You mentioned that you're using Staircase.
Yeah.
And Staircase is the rising star in the AI landscape of customer success and post-sales.
Yeah.
How are you specifically getting the most value out of Staircase?
Oh man, so we've been with Staircase since 2023. So it's been—
You're OG.
Oh, I think we kind of are, yeah. Yeah, so it's been pretty great. We've got a really great baseline with Staircase. At the end of last year, we operationalized all our internal OKRs. So we've got those, which are those are our leading indicators that we believe will get us to this, our GRR and retention targets, right? So we've operationalized those. Those are all sitting there in Staircase. Staircase does all the AI analysis, engagement analysis. Early 2023, pre-Staircase, it was probably CSM Spidey sense, plus, adoption metrics and timing triggers. And now, we're gonna have to move away from your typical, a license adoption, feature function adoption, to what is adoption in an agentic product.
We're all going to be figuring out new ways of working.
Yeah, so as a CS team, we're going to have to figure out, okay, what is that? What are those signals?
Yeah.
And how do I proactively act on that to deliver customer outcomes?
Yeah. Charlie, thank you so much for stopping
Sure.
by. It's a great
Thanks a lot.
conversation. Thanks for sharing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Please welcome Margo Martin, the Chief Customer Officer at Dellteck.
Margo, thank you so much for joining me on this program.
Thanks, Josh, for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
A large domain of lots of things going on. I'm a little bit privy to some of the activities. What are the biggest rocks right now that you're focused on, biggest priorities?
Yeah, I think on the customer success side, obviously, churn and NRR. And so that's a big boulder for us, making sure that we're taking care of our customers. Focusing on adoption is a big boulder for us this year.
By the way, sorry, I love the fact that I talked about rocks, but you upgraded us to boulders.
To boulders.
So you're giving a little bit of a peek into your mind of the real, the imminence and the impact of these things. I love it.
Exactly. What keeps me up at night, right? Yeah. So I would say scalability, obviously, and how do we scale? Because I remember our former CEO telling me when I took on the customer success job, he said, I'm not going to keep throwing bodies at this. You can't keep hiring CSMs. So how are you going to scale? So scalability, digital, how are we going to work on adoption and getting our customers to use our product when a CSM has 500 accounts, right, at the small end? So scalability, digital, AI keeps me up at night, and those are big boulders. How do we do more with less? And so
do more with less. Oh my God, if I have a nickel for every time.
If you put nickel for everything. I always think it's funny that we put that in with our tagline, but our CEO at the time didn't really like that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Okay, so AI is keeping you up at night, but is that good anxiety, or is that worrisome
anxiety? I just want to go faster. I want all of it. I want agents. I want all of it. I just want us to go faster, because I think that will free up our CSMs to do the real work, right? Work on adoption, build relationships, become that trusted advisor, right? It'll help our renewals team get through more quickly. It'll just add so much automation, and I think it'll get us in front of problems faster. If I don't have to wait for the support cases to flow over to Gainsight and the NPS scores to flow over to Gainsight, because that's all their lagging indicators of what's really going on in a business. But all of a sudden I know within 15 minutes that 20 of our customers have submitted sub-1 cases and there's a defect, and that we can get ahead of that, and we can go out and say, hey, we're working on it, don't panic, the fix is going to be available within an hour. That, instead of finding out about it because a customer calls us and yells at us, right? I just think the value we're going to be able to add for our customers is going to be truly amazing.
And where are you in that journey right now? Have you dabbled yet? Are you kind of on the precipice?
Yeah, so like I want Staircase AI. Our Gainsight instance is set up at the relationship level, which that's usually the last thing that Gainsight rolls out is at the relationship level. So I'm pushing them really hard to roll out Staircase AI at the relationship level sooner rather than later. So I would jump all over that. But
what's the top insight you would want at the relationship level via Staircase?
Because our customers own multiple products, right? It'd be great to see that holistic picture. Like, okay, this add-on is they're in trouble. Like this one's not going well, but their ERP is going well. But seeing that, like the whole relationship of the customer, because some of our products are really different. They're like subscription based, and so they have separate CSMs for that. But like, unless that CSM tells the main CSM, like, or they put it in Gainsight, like, you're not getting all that information, but having that information before you have to go tell someone and it's all teeing up, and that just sounds amazing to me. So, but again, I really want our CSMs and our renewals team to be able to focus on the bigger picture items than putting out fires all the time.
Lots of exciting things.
Lots of exciting things.
Thank you, Margo. I appreciate your time. Thanks for being on the program. Likewise.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tony Pante, Global Head of Scale and Engagement Center at SAP.
Tony, thank you so much for being here. You bet. Thanks for the opportunity. Good to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Okay, so you've been at SAP for 18 years, just a little bit of a tenure.
Yeah.
I want to learn about your role. I want to learn, usually we ask like, okay, well, what does your company do? I think everybody kind of knows what SAP does, but you could give us the 10 seconds on that, but a little context setting. So tell us about SAP, tell us about your org, and then I want to learn about your amazing trajectory and your growth through those 18 years.
Sure. SAP, pretty big company, well over 50 years. We run the world's economy. So think of inventory management, account management, HR, all running on a platform. And the beauty of the products is you got the products, you get the data, AI on top of it. We're all talking about AI. The organization that I lead it's a global organization focusing on customer success. How do we make sure our customers use the best features to drive their business value? You drive business value, you reduce churn, you drive adoption and consumption. So we're really committed to making sure our customers are successful. We do that two ways. We've got large customers, biggest customers on the planet, that will use a high touch motion. That will help engage with those customers, maybe 1 to 4, 1 to 2 type customer relationship. So they have real intimate relationships with
one CS member to two
large customers, correct. But then on the other end of the spectrum could be a digital coverage where we got digital CSMs, and they could cover maybe 100 customers. Again, working through a value journey, being there to support customers, but looking to do a little bit more digital engagement, self-service, promotion. But what we find out is as you engage with customers, you share best practice, you share community, good things happen.
So I was going to ask you what are the biggest priorities and biggest rocks for you right now. You might have just answered it. I mean, where are you right now?
We've had a decent amount of change at SAP as we continue to grow and get more efficient. We've come out with a lot of new capabilities around AI embedded into our software, data supporting all of our different applications.
Commercial, you serve in this commercial.
Correct, yeah. So we've got some really fantastic capabilities built in and then being used by our customers. So we're trying to help make sure we drive adoption. That is our single biggest big rock. We still have many customers that either use a single product or not enough of that single product. How do we drive adoption? And that comes back to understanding value drivers, understanding the capabilities that or the value that the customer wants to drive, supporting them with capabilities that we have in our software, and making sure they have the assets and content to use it. So we're going to continue to stay on that. We're covering more and more customers. We're covering an expanded set of solutions that we provide. So those are the kind of the big rocks. Is some of the basic themes. How do we engage? How do we make sure we drive adoption? Where it's getting interesting for us is the portfolio is expanded. And oh, by the way, we just moved to Gainsight. So that's changing how the CSM organization operates. 2,000 CSMs all around the planet with the expectations even to go higher.
And did you go from 0 to 60? You went from 0 to 2,000? Or was it a phased approach?
We went from, this is our first phase. We went from 0 to 2,000.
Oh my God.
When we flipped the switch, we had a lot of training, phenomenal change management organization, really great partnership with Gainsight, with our IT organization, and we really focused on change management, communication, and training to make sure we brought the capabilities to the CSMs. Still early. We just came out of a meeting. We're saying, hey, how do we know how things are working? Yeah. And right now we're tracking our people using it. Yeah. And then the next step is to say, hey, how are they using it?
Let's talk about AI. We have to talk about AI.
Sure.
You talked about it being embedded now into your products. How are you thinking about it? What are you most excited about, maybe anxious about as well? Yeah, a couple things. It's just fascinating to see how powerful it can be. I mean, we're at the early stages as we think about using it internally. How do you help write presentations? Translation. It's pretty cool because we support many different languages. We're using AI to help us with translation and content creation for 10 different languages around the world. So you get 95% of it done, and then we have folks with local language that help us. So that's gotten us off the track.
Huge cost savings. That's
Yeah.
huge speed ramping of those efforts.
Very much so. And then what we did is we actually took a lot of the Gainsight content and a lot of our training on Gainsight, and we took the AI agent to learn from that. So that's helped with the enablement and the learning. And now we're starting to think about, okay, how do we build in SAP best practice? So we're using the AI cheat sheet from Gainsight that's helping us with some account information. We're going to bring our SAP product, which is SAP Joule, soon. I believe that's going to be happening in about 2 months, where you have that agent sitting on Gainsight to help us with insight. So you start thinking about where a CSM is now, and it's helping to get some efficiency gains. 6 months from now, a year from now, it could be a completely different game, where the data and the analysis of the data from the agent supports the CSM. So the basic stuff the CSM has to do can be automated. You know, how do you free up the human so that they can be human? Yeah. And that's exactly the presence that we're taking. So I'm not too worried about AI taking away jobs, because we help customers, and customers still want to talk to people.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that they can get more efficient, because I don't know, honestly, we're growing substantially. I don't know if we're going to be able, I'd rather not have to go back to my board and say, hey, I'd like more headcount.
Right.
I'd rather be able to say, here's the efficiencies I'm seeing. Oh, by the way, and I can bank on it for the next year or 2 years as technology helps us get more productive.
I can do more with the same.
Yeah.
Tony, thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate
Great
it. Thank you.
conversation. Thanks for the tips.
You bet.